What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with a random selection from my 80s vinyl collection, which is to say, amid my larger record collection, my subcategory of 80s vinyl is the most unknown to me, meaning it's the most donated part of my vinyl collection. The most records, percentage-wise, in that subset came from donations from friends, family, people getting rid of old records, and almost always I was like, yeah, sure, I'll take them all. And in some cases I would sort through, see what was there. In other cases I just put, let's say it was 40 or 50 records, I just put it on my shelf. Over the years I have begun to explore it and go through the materials people have given me, but I did not know that in my collection, until pretty recently, I had a Nena album. I think that's how you pronounce it. I think as a kid I probably said Nina, but I think it's Nena. In any case, the only tune I'm familiar with from her/them, because I think it's sort of like Sade, right? Where it's like the lead singer goes by Nena, but it's also the group. So I think that's the case. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it does show 5 people on the back with her in the middle, so again, that is my assumption. The only tune I really know from them is 99 Luftballons, which I've heard both in the original German and in English, and I've heard a good punk cover of it over the years, so yeah, that's the only tune from them I know in any detail. This album apparently comes from 1985, it's called It's All in the Game, and I don't think I know any of the tunes on it, and it does not feature 99 Luftballons in the track listing. So the first track is Utopia, which is an idealized state, which is seen to be perfect in every way, which does not have any flaws or shortcomings. Of course, there's a famous tract written by Thomas More, I believe, but I wouldn't necessarily expect it to be an overt reference to that. I would imagine it just to be playing off of the concept of a utopia, a perfect place where everyone would want to live because it has nothing wrong, everything good, and nothing bad. But as the real world is often a reply to a concept like that, meaning that a utopia must always be a theoretical, a hypothetical, because when you try to create one in real life, there are inevitably shortcomings or difficulties that prevent the manifestation of that utopia, if only time and its effect on biological organisms. So I do wonder what we might get. I will see if I can pick up any lyrics on a first listening, and of course I'm aware that there may be some German over the course of this album, so in that case I won't know what is being said, but we'll give it a listen. This is Nena, the track is Utopia, and it's the first tune on their It's All in the Game album, 1985. Reminds me a bit of like a Thomas Dolby track sonically.
Created in the image
So number one, that's way more off the beaten path, shall we say, sonically than I expected. I expected it to maybe be like a synth rock tune, not unlike 99 Luft Balloons. So number one, it had some funk to it. It had a like really dynamic, syncopated percussive structure, including sections where everything sort of strips out and it's just like syncopating and tap tap tapping, and you're sort of in a bit in suspense. And then the saxophone not only had some real swagger and funk to it, but it was not like a typical saxophone part. It was really like wild in a way. The Sonics overall, again, they had this like synth funk sound, which I guess from 85 isn't terribly surprising. I've talked about it like with the Rhythmics and Duran Duran, where once you get to like 85, 86, especially 87, groups that were perhaps mostly known as synth pop groups began incorporating more funk and soul sounds, and I think the zeitgeist of the like synth pop world was sort of heading in some different territories, trying to incorporate some different stylings. It feels like maybe there's a bit of that here. Lyrically, the chorus seems to be the key in that she's saying like, don't ask me for utopia or perfection, but then I was unsure if like the second two lines were like decadence or troublesome or like troubleless. I don't know what those were, but they felt like maybe they were on the other side of the spectrum. But she sounds like, if I'm reading this right, she's saying don't expect these perfect theoretical attitudes or situations or behaviors or emotional states on my part, because that's not realistic. You know, I can't give you perfection or utopia or heaven, because those things are ideals. They're not what happens down here in the real world in real interpersonal relations. So she sounds like she's setting it straight that, you know, this is realistic, this is real life, this isn't absolutes in one direction or indeed maybe in the other, if I'm reading those other two lines correctly. So I didn't catch the verses as clearly, but yes, the chorus seems to indicate that the utopia will forever be this unobtainable, hypothetical or theoretical. It's not something that's actual. So it feels like maybe that's the essence of the track lyrically or thematically. So if people know this one better, please do let me know. And yeah, just a really surprising tune sonically. I mentioned the Dolby reference because some of his stuff, when I started going through his 80s material, it's like, wow, like, yeah, it's synth pop, but it's really like off in its own direction. It's really off the beaten path type of synth pop, rather than, let's say, and again, I'm a huge Depeche Mode fan, which I don't know if you can see above you, but I have all their albums. I've been listening to them since I was a kid. Even their stuff that's a bit more experimental feels like more normal synth pop, and again, like the early Eurythmic stuff, although I guess not the earliest Eurythmic stuff. The Garden wasn't quite like that, but like Touch and Sweet Dreams are more in what people think of when they think of 80s synth pop. This was like 80s synth funk soul a bit, like it was just really different sonically from what I was maybe expecting, though again, having heard so little of their material, I guess I shouldn't have been expecting anything. But yeah, really interesting opener. The next one is It's All in the Game, so I guess the title track is next. I suppose we'll see what that's all about. But yeah, shout out to anyone who's willing to go through this record with me. It's not an album I know. It's been sitting in my collection a very long time, but now that I have this platform to explore music and also to explore Luca attacking the door, yeah, it's fun to go through things with a bit of mystery involved. So yeah, let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.